Welcome to PM Untold, Unlocking the Path to Success. This podcast unravels the hidden stories behind exceptional leadership to excel in your own leadership endeavors. Brought to you by the collaboration of PMI Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Subscribe to PM Untold today and join us as we redefine leadership one story at a time.
Welcome to PM Untold. I'm Samantha Dula, and I'll be your host today. I'm a digital project manager and a member of the Luxembourg PMI chapter. Our guest today is Julia Khalyavko. Julia is a special guest as she is my friend and fellow IT project manager at PwC Luxembourg. Julia, welcome to the PM Untold podcast.
Hi, Samantha. Thank you for having me here.
Of course. So excited you could join us. And I'm just going to dive right in and ask you, Julia, could you please tell the audience about yourself, your background, and a bit more about how you landed in your role in Luxembourg?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Luxembourg was not my first, the place where I started my career. I started it back in 2018 as a project manager coordinator after finishing my master's back in Australia. I did come to Europe. I moved back to Europe 5 years ago. It was a big shift. It was just before COVID. In fact, COVID already started, and that was partially the reason why I had to come back. It's like new place, new challenges, and I didn't want to leave or change the career, and I liked it. I feel like project managers are people that are naturally, in their private lives, you are quite organized, and you can't be, in my opinion, like a project manager if you are not a bit of a organizational kind of psycho. And it helps a lot. I definitely am, and it helps a lot in my job. So I continued, and in fact, it led me to PwC. Luxembourg was one of the companies that I really wanted to get into, because my previous experience, I started like in the startup world type of thing. So my first company, it was not a startup, but it was already like a scale up, but still with a startup DNA. And a lot of things were not even in place. And I remember I joined what was called a project management office that was literally like a PMI was hired, and then about at the same time I was hired, and I saw how things were being put in place like live, and I liked it a lot, but at the same time, it was kind of the only experience that I had. And I was like, well, this is the person that is trained in project management. He's got a lot of experience, and he put together a system that was working quite well. But I was also curious about, I was like, what it's like in a really big company that is supposedly already has to have all these processes and systems in place, with all the templates, with all the process flows and whatnot. And I was like, it would be really curious to experience, like, when you just come to a big company and they were like, this is our business as usual, this is how we do things, and you just need to follow that. So in a sense, that was a big shift, and the difference is quite drastic to you, also in terms of the just the size, because like here in a big company you have to deal with a lot of people, and there are a lot of checkpoints, approvals that you need to get. Whereas like in a small company, it's it's different because of just the proximity. And even if you have certain processes in place and you have to get some approvals, it's not it doesn't take that much time. Whereas like in a big company, obviously it just takes longer. However, I would have it in a more proper way, where you ensure that your security is like top notch, and you've put all the how to call them, like uh, well, I said already the checkpoints, but all the frameworks together that people have to follow to ensure that the quality is also at a required level, rather than be doing things quickly and like moving fast and breaking things. This is definitely like the startup mentality, but
That makes sense.
again, yeah. But like, it's just because of the kind of person that I am. I really like things being done proper. So what I in Luxembourg as a country, it reminds me, people always get very surprised when I say that it reminds me of Australia, but it reminds me of Australia in one particular like sense. It's very easy to live here, and it's quite uh, it's got a good infrastructure. It's got like all the rules that people need to follow to be, I don't know, compliant, or to like in terms of like doing your taxes, or I don't know, going to the doctor, or getting your like the help from well, in our case it's CNS. uh, all of that is quite transparent, and I feel like it's a country where you have all these rules and they're clear and people follow them. This is why life is quite good.
Yeah, that's really interesting, your background and how you ended up here in Luxembourg. And today we have you on the podcast since March 8th is International Women's Day. And really, we were hoping to dive into your background as a female project manager in tech here in Luxembourg. So, can you talk a little bit more about being, a project manager and what this, looks like for you as a woman in this role?
For me, first and foremost, it probably be about breaking stereotypes and showing that women can thrive in technical roles through just as well as anyone else. And I'd say across the board, you don't see a lot of women. So I feel like I have a chance to change that narrative. And it's also about leading like with a mix of confidence and empathy, being firm but fair. And I think it's quite important to show that you can be a strong leader while staying true to yourself. And I think that it's also true for anyone, I mean, regardless of the exact gender, that staying true to yourself sometimes can create some challenges because like people being authentic, I mean, we're all very different, right? So sometimes you can come across someone who clicks with you and you vibe with them, and sometimes this is not the case. And I feel like that I'm that person who is like unapologetically herself at all times. And it's I don't have a filter that is sometimes kind of required. And do you know what I mean? And it's been one of the like learning steep curves that I had to learn in my career, that you have to like adapt rather than just bluntly like pushing through and expressing your point of view. Sometimes you need to package it, and this I feel is very just human. It's not specifically like related to women and men. It's just human. And some people,
Definitely.
because of their experience, they have it like better, and they know better how to do that. And to some people, it comes naturally, regardless of the experience. But overall, across the board, I feel like the more you are uh, in an environment that requires that of you, the better you get if you are willing to learn. So voila.
Yeah, this I've seen too, you know, being that we're in a similar career path. I like this idea of packaging it, and this adaptability, you know, to your team and to the organization you're working in, you know, for the project you're working on. You know, there's a lot of variables there. But also, so have you really seen or have you experienced any
Mm.
in your career so far, any barriers to kind of entry in project management?
Mm.
And did you, you know, how did you overcome these if you did experience
Mm.
any?
Yes. I did have certain barriers that were related to first, I can think of culture. Culture is a big one because it's I'm talking both about the perhaps like nationality and personal, like the way you're brought up and the types of values uh, that were kind of, you know, um, they were surrounded by, and hence you adopted. Um, so it really was a quite a difficult experience when I just started my career. Uh, I am the kind of person that gets stuff done, and whenever I have a task, I my goal is usually to finish it and finish it like well and deliver on it. And when you come into a collective, right? It's not just about the task. It's also about the people who gave you the task, the people with whom you're going to do the task, and potentially, if those people are different, to whom you're going to deliver that task. And this is where all of the psychological narratives come in, like they step into the picture, and um, you need to also navigate, you know, through different characters, through people's agendas, who they are as individuals, what to expect, you know, what their historical background is, not historical, but what their personal background is. And this is something that I am still struggling with to an extent. Obviously, like it's much better compared to like 7 years ago when I just started. But it was a bit of a shock even to me. Not even. I mean, it was a shock. It was a shock to me when I started because when you again, like I came out of uni, it was my master's degree, so like I had been in academia at that stage for 6 years, and most of the work that I was doing, it was kind of, you know, quite isolated because the work that I needed to deliver, it was like between me and my advisor and everything else. I mean, we've all been a trainee, so
Yeah, this
my
makes
degree,
sense. It's
yeah, mm,
more, you know, yeah, one-on-one, not so
mm,
many, you know, not so many teams involved maybe in some of the things
mhm,
that you were
yeah,
doing.
yeah, that's it. And I was totally like 99.9% relying on myself, and this is like the habit that I kind of that I got. And then you come into you, like I said, a collective, and then it's a completely like different game. Um, and basically, yes. So if I was delivered like a certain feedback about the fact that I usually appear to be like a bad policeman rather than a good one. But at the end of the day, I still like the thing that I struggle with is that when you're a project manager, your first and foremost goal is to deliver the project, as long as all the circumstances uh, are kind of positive, and you don't have any negative impact. And if you have those, how to call them, like if you have all variables that are like known to you, like there is no reason for why you cannot deliver. And what I struggle with is that whenever you have a project and you have a project team, we are doing our job, so we need to do our jobs. And my work as a project manager, I need to make sure that you do what you were assigned to do, and if you don't, then how to help you to do it. And and basically, like when I come to people and ask them, so what is the status? Like, how are you going? Like, do you have any how to call them? Like, do you have any problems? Do you have any
Blockers.
bottlenecks? Yes, blockers. Sometimes, like people say it as, I don't know, being pushy, being too noisy, being kind of maybe micromanaging, which I never joke, by the way. But to some people, it can appear that it is the case, and I don't have enough, like, I don't know, like I can't always read the type of emotion that a person may have in relation to that. And so, because again, everyone is so different, you can't really tell whether they like the way you work or they don't. And for me, it's like, you need to deliver. Like, this is your this is your job. Like, I can ask you about the weather and how's your weekend been, but at the end of the day, we all know why we're here. So you, like, obviously, like, we can be nice about that, but at the same time, like, do not forget that this is what you need to do, and this is what we all need to do. And yeah, so you cultural
It's like a
differences.
balance,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, this balance is so important as a project manager, where you don't necessarily want to, micromanage, like you're saying. But then, there are times when it may be perceived or seen as micromanagement. And, usually there's, this stigma attached to micromanaging. And, it's kind of been, I think, studied where this doesn't always, make teams more effective. And so, it is, I can see, even for me too, as a project manager, it being really difficult to, how do you balance the delivery without and push my team, my project team, on a specific timeline or within a specific budget, or this keeping the scope creep away. How do you balance all of these things? And it can be seen as it can be really difficult.
Yeah, and I feel like first and foremost, like the type of training that project managers need to receive should really be about, like, the psychology, like, the psychology of humans, in perhaps like certain in a certain context, that can be like a workplace, maybe applicable to you, like a place like an IT department. for example, or some like technology space, because like people who work in those technical roles, they're quite different to someone who is like an accountant, for example, or someone who is a doctor, or someone who I don't know, like a coach at a gym. So obviously, very different mindsets and skill sets, and I feel like there should be a certain like maybe training around like how to work with people with certain roles, which I'm not aware if it exists. Like I don't think that it exists. And a lot of good managers that, well, project managers, I mean, who I know or know of, they are very good like psychologists, but not, it's not their job, but it's just that they understand human psychology quite well, and this is what I think make them quite successful in their daily jobs. But I was talking about,
this is like a
yeah.
great segue, because I was going to actually ask you, I wanted to know if there were some project managers or women even who inspire you in your career. And this is like a great example of that. You mentioned that you have seen people who do have these skills, and they can be very successful, like you're saying, which is impressive even for me too.
I've noticed that great project managers, they understand human psychology, and instead of like using it against humans, obviously, they use it like in advantage of those humans, if as long as they're on their project, and they also show you what I was talking about earlier. They show you a higher maybe level of empathy. They're quite kind people, and I talk about I'm talking about people in general, not just women or not just men. And basically, if you are a decent person yourself, and you are on a team of a person like that, of a project manager like that, I think it helps with the delivery. Like I myself, I have an example of where I was a stream leader in a program, in several programs, in fact, where the program manager was the same person, and each time it was the same experience. It's a great individual. We work together very well, and he's very empathetic. He is very kind. He's very understanding, and he's not pushy at all. He's not like a bad policeman. He's not a policeman at all, to be honest. It's just that as long as you are working together, there are certain things that you need to deliver on. And me personally, because of how great of an individual he is, even if I have something that is of a higher priority compared to the work that I do for him, obviously I will put in an extra effort, and I will spend an extra hour or two to deliver on what I need to do for him, even if I didn't have the time to do that like during the normal working hours. Like I will go an extra mile because of how helpful he is for me, like at this given moment, or he was like in the past. So it is about like building those personal relationships and showing people that you like you appreciate them. At the same time, I would probably like to mention that unfortunately there are people that take advantage of it, and I saw people taking advantage of him because of how not because of how kind he is, but because they probably were considering it being a weakness to some extent, and not like instead of valuing it, they would push whatever that they need to deliver for him, like how to say that, not push, but kind of
maybe delay.
delay and kind of neglect it until the very last minute, you know. And this is something that happened to me too, when people like perceive you as weaker than you are, not having maybe enough authority than you actually have, and they start under delivering. And it's quite difficult. Well, it was quite difficult for me to turn around in certain cases when it used to happen. And because the project just needed to continue, we needed to continue working, I would just like look past it and put my head down and just like run with it. And this is something that I haven't really found the solution for. Like in one case, though, it did change naturally because like hard work, I feel like is something that helps in those cases like big time, because as long as you work hard and you do show, I don't know, not just to this particular person or people, but just in general, that you are like delivering value and you do care about what you do and you do go an extra mile in some cases where it's applicable. I mean, it shows, and it's not that it goes unseen. And so you, as long as you do that and do it consistently, and those people who undervalue you, they will see that too. Like no matter how like mistaken they
Yeah.
were first time
Yeah, for
around,
sure.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah, they get inspired, by how aligned, you are, or maybe even more so like how, yeah, passionate you may be or driven, I feel like sometimes that can really help get people back on track, and really align with the mission and like what is our goal here, and this camaraderie almost of the team, you have to um, as a project manager, it's important, not only to manage people and the project, but managing expectations. And yeah, not everyone's going to always pull their weight. And this is something, most project managers have built in this expectation, which is, okay, because we're humans at the end of the day,
yeah, totally.
can think a little bit. Yeah. What actions have you taken or do you take to work towards supporting women in project management?
I've been involved with what used to be Girls in Tech Luxembourg. It was an international NGO, now called or Women Excel in STEM Plus for inclusion, based in Luxembourg. It's so the Luxembourgish chapter of Girls in Tech was rebranded because Girls in Tech effectively ceased to exist about a year ago. So Women Excel in STEM expanded also and kind of started covering what STEM stands for, right? So science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And basically, this is the organization that the goal of which is to bridge the gender gap in tech. And it's an organization that tries to fulfill this goal by delivering certain educational programs across the board for people of different ages, starting from school kids and ending with like seasoned professionals. The courses or the programs, they are delivered usually in partnership with the other organizations, sometimes individually, by using the skills of our certain volunteers. And so the aim here is to really like help girls, young ladies, women to either get new skills or improve the ones that they already have, or include them in create the community, and then provide an opportunity for them to become a part of that community, and basically feel more welcomed, feel more like at ease with their lives in Luxembourg, because as we know, Luxembourg is a very multi-national country, with half of the population being expats, and yeah, so when people come from like far away and don't really have any roots here, don't have a base, and they have to effectively they have to effectively like build their life or rebuild their life here from scratch. Community is something that can help big time, and I've experienced it myself. I've experienced it in Luxembourg. I experienced that in Australia, and it works the same way. It's the same pattern. You just have to have people around you, because like life can be a very lonely place if you don't have friends or people that you can rely to. And honestly, in this day and age, with the level of isolation that people can get through, it's appalling in my humble opinion. Like, people were never meant to be so lonely as they are at this time. Like, I mean, at the in like, how to call this, like, present in the present day, or in this day and age. And we were always meant to live in communities, like even in the
For
past. Like,
sure.
we all know this expression that it takes a village to like to bring a person up, to help someone grow, in the sense that, so I think in the past it was related to, like, if a child is born in a village, so basically this village is there to help them grow in like in different how do you explain that, so in different kind of
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I think now it's more so that community is even more essential, not only in your personal life, but in your professional life.
Mm-hmm.
And, here in Luxembourg, I'm not sure if you experienced this, but I've noticed, networking is so essential now in so many different ways when it comes to your career. And not only if you're just looking for a job, but if you're, trying to grow your career and your skill set, and, you
Totally.
know, yeah, build, this expertise up with the help of other mentors and peers, and even just finding out about different projects, in the community. They can be really helpful to your career growth. And I think that you had, not only are you involved in WeSTEM, and you are actually in WeSTEM, your position is, what was the position you were holding with this organization?
It's the sponsorship manager. So we have different quote unquote departments at the NGO, and just for the record, we're all volunteers. We're like, this is not something that we're getting paid for. And I help with like getting the word out there about the organization, and attracting potential sponsors to help us run those programs that we have, and just help us be afloat, because there are a lot of organizational, operational, license related expenses that we need the funds for. Do you want me to talk about that?
Yeah, this is great. And I think too that this is some volunteer work that you're doing in the community that's helping you grow your career and your skill set even outside of your full-time job. And I think you mentioned too that you were working on another community project that you started.
Yeah, I talked about community a lot, and what I said about West Ham Plus, it was more in relation to your professional network, although it can also be helpful because you can find like friends and people that can become close to you through the professional network story. But when I just came to Luxembourg about, I want to say 3 years ago, something like that. Um, I really liked the place, although I did have about maybe 6 months of the like adaptation period. I really liked the place, but I also realized that I don't really know anything about it. And of course, you have your like Wikipedia pages about some general places such as the center of the city. There is this statue, there is that building, there is this institution, but that's about it. And there's no perhaps coherent I wouldn't say maybe a narrative that you can and there's no like one place, like a single place where you can go and you can understand Luxembourg. Like you can learn about it like as fully as possible and sort of like understand Luxembourgish character and what this place is about. Because what I also learned at that stage when I started thinking about it is that a lot of people considered being in the past as part of either Belgium or France or Germany. Sometimes like the country that is in between, but still heavily influenced by those three. There's also the Netherlands that were in the picture for quite a long time. So it's like the country that is like has never been its own country, which is like totally not true. And also what Luxembourgish people are, how they live, what they represent, what they value, what they're about just in general. It's quite difficult for you to grasp again, because Luxembourg is a very multinational society, especially if you work at a big company here, and more often than not you would work together with someone who's not from here. At least that has been my experience, and I personally do not have a lot of Luxembourgish acquaintances, and most definitely I don't have any Luxembourgish friends. So because of my academic background, I decided that I was it's not that I decided. I was curious. I was genuinely curious about the history of Luxembourg, and then I decided that I wanted to learn it and get to know it. And I started this project that is effectively it turned out to be a community building project where, in a nutshell, I research certain topics about Luxembourg. In most cases, it's through a historic lens, and those can be stories about people or about certain places or about certain events that relate to Luxembourg in this way or another. And I post those stories on what is now a website. And I also have a podcast with a local community radio that is called ARA Radio, City Radio. So the project's name is Bourgmeisterin, and it's a kind of a transformed name of an existing word. It's a German word that means city Maya. And I thought that this character is someone that probably is supposed to bring people together, and I thought that it could be a good option to have as a name. And I transformed it so it effectively have Bourg as the first part of it, which means the city in all languages, or all Anglo Saxon or Germanic languages. Let's not overgeneralize. And the Meisterin, this is the German word for feminine version of a German word that means master. So this is the name, and so far I've done collaborations which are still ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
In different contexts, it can also mean like a governor. I think in Luxembourgish, it means also ICT Maya. It was founded in around 1950s. And the purpose of the collaboration is the same, and the nature of the collaboration is the same. So we would show you stories and different content about the connection between the United States and Luxembourg. And I feel like everyone who has been following this over the last 1.5 years, maybe a bit longer than that. Those are both Luxembourgers and expats. And the feedback that I've gotten so far is that for the expats, obviously a lot of those stories, they come as a, not exactly maybe as a surprise, but they haven't really happened for you to know certain details about certain individuals or stories at all. And Luxembourgers, although they might know you pretty much all or almost all topics that I write about, the details, usually I get the feedback that they did not know, for the most part, what was happening with a certain individual or what was happening throughout a certain like series of events. Like, for example, they might know that Joseph Couta is a famous painter from Luxembourg, but the intricacies of his life, how he became the painter, what it was, what it took him, and what kind of life challenges, for example, he had, they wouldn't know. Well, certainly not all of them. So from Luxembourgers, the feedback has been that they have been rediscovering their country with me, which is obviously very nice, because I'm certainly discovering it. And if I'm helping someone doing the same, that's great. And I feel like this is what builds a community. You need to know the place where you live, or where you work, for that matter. With regards to the work, it's the domain that you need to know. With regards to you, the personal community, that's related to your personal life, you need to know the place and the context, because it's something that helps you navigate it much better, and it helps you relate to it. I think this is the biggest thing. When you can relate to something, that instantly builds the connection. And this is what I've been trying to do. And being a project manager obviously helps with that, because it's a project. So I need to put all the blocks and like bits and pieces together for it to work. And there's no one else at this stage who would be like happy for you to do that work for me or to help. So it takes quite a bit of time, and pairing it together with full-time job and volunteering obviously is challenging, but obviously also
You
it's
are
quite
busy.
yeah.
You are busy.
Yeah, I am busy. And I mean, I was going to say that it does bring the rewards, because through that, I've met quite a bit of people, and I have new ideas that can help with like the expansion of my network within this project, and like perhaps even connecting those people between one another, which can certainly like enhance these efforts of building the community. So I think that I'm definitely getting there. Like I'm getting the I don't know, like the the signals. Perhaps there are certain things that work out without even me like putting that much effort as I used to, for example, at the beginning. And certain opportunities come, and I'm like, wow, like now I say that indeed, like it's not it's not all in vain. Like it's you just need to make time and put in enough effort, and do it consistently. Perhaps this is the biggest challenge. Like you need to keep going even when you feel like you're very close to giving up, because I've had so many of those moments when I'm just like, I can't do this anymore, whatever that is. I'm like, I'm not even referring to those two things in my life. It's like whatever that was. But as long as you keep going, um, and just not giving up, you will see the results. Like I can guarantee. Yeah.
Yeah, this is great advice. And I wanted to ask you too if you had any advice for, any women out there who may be listening to this, that are considering either a career in project management, or maybe they're hoping to kind of start a passion project like you're talking about you've done. If you have any guidance for them on how they can either start, or like you just mentioned, kind of never giving up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. 100%. Probably I could divide it into two groups. The first being a project manager in a technical field. I would say, not being a techie myself, and coming into this field with like what was mostly an academic background, do not fear technical stuff. Do not let it hold you back, because what I've learned is, although the knowledge of certain certain areas, certain aspects, it can help, and you will get there. The best part of it is that you will get there. You will get to understand something that you might not at the beginning. What I've learned is that project management is project management, like no matter where and no matter what you do. As long as you apply the standard practices and the frameworks that build build a clear system for what needs to be done and who needs to do what, and where we are going with this, like what the goal of the whole thing, then 99% is going to be successful. And everyone learns as they go, and it's okay not to have all the answers from the start. Like confidence, and again, this came from experience. I wanted to say that confidence comes with experience, and the more you learn, the more confident you feel. And this is personally what I've experienced. What I've been experiencing lately, and by lately I want to say maybe like 2 years, 1 year and a half. It's I feel quite confident no matter who's in the room with me or who's in the call with me, as long as I know what I'm talking about. Obviously, if I don't know what I'm talking about, I'd rather not, I'd rather not say anything at all. But taking that first step towards like doing, this is something that will get you going, and then just don't stop. Like continue learning, continue applying things, and also perhaps don't be afraid to speak up and share your ideas, because your perspective matters, and also you perhaps finding mentors or peers who can inspire you and build this network, at least at a workplace, if this is where it applies. This network that supports you, it's quite helpful. And also remember that it's okay to ask for help. Like, obviously, there are going to be situations where you're just lost. Like, I had a very good example during last year where I had a certain project where there was a moment in time where I was completely lost, and I thought that I literally don't know how to do my job, and I don't even know where to go and where to ask for help. But we are all figuring it out as we go, and now it's the same. So I just started asking everyone effectively. Like, I just started going to all people, and bit by bit it came, and I finished like a certain task that I needed to finish. You will feel frustration, obviously, but I mean, this is life. This is natural. So once you've practiced it enough, I feel like, and this is how you learn, right? Like, you've practiced it enough and you've learned, and this is something that you will apply next time it happens. So
that is great advice. And I can also admit that I found, a lot of the same things that you mentioned to be true. I really like this idea of just keep going and be okay with the ambiguity that we face in project management, because there will be times where, even if you are managing the project, you may not know all of the intricacies like you mentioned. And it is okay to ask for help if you really don't understand something, and to lean on other people. This is something I've also had to learn the hard way. So I just want to say thank you so much, Julia, for your insight today and joining us. Listeners, if you want to learn more about WeSTEM and Julia's work on Bourgmeisterin, the links will be shared in the description area. And thank you so much to our listeners. And until the next episode.
Thank you for tuning in to PM Untold. From groundbreaking innovations to nurturing high-performing teams, we are your go-to resource for mastering leadership. For questions or suggestions, contact us at beneluxpodcast@pmi.lu. Subscribe to PM Untold today as we redefine leadership one story at a time. Stay inspired.